Hi all, welcome to the stream, and the idea is to reach 2100 today or close to that. But before that, let's solve a few puzzles. And with that said, let's dive into it. Okay, so it's white to play. Okay, so over here we have equal material, but there are some weaknesses around the king side. Now one idea could be to take on f7, rook f7, e6. If rook f8, then queen g7 is made. However, or what about rook g6? Let's say f takes on g6, e6, and then how does black defends the mate on g7? Okay, he has got queen a1 check. I play king d2. Let's say one of the rooks comes to d8, and then I just play. Oh yeah, yeah. The problem is if rook g6 check, pawn takes, and then if I move my king, and then 1 second. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment, guys. I'm getting a call right now. Hello. Anji. Okay. So we are back. Wait. This doesn't look good here. I'm not sure why that is the case. Yeah, now it looks better. Yeah. Okay, so rook g6. If h g6, then h7 check. If king h8 e6, f6 e7 is the move to be played, I believe. Rook f7 and then maybe a check. However, after rook g6 check, my opponent does not have to capture with the h pawn. He can capture with the f pawn also, which will then, I'm not sure if it will produce anything. Maybe then or what about e6 directly? Because if pawn takes, I can capture on g6, and that's going to be a forced mate, I believe. Takes, yeah. So e6, let's say queen a1, king d2, one of the rooks comes to the d8 square, king e3, and if queen or rook captures on d1, then maybe I can capture on f7. That could be interesting. Anyhow, I'm voting for e6. Let's see what do we get. Yeah, that's the right move. King d2 is the only move, and king e3 should be played here. Yeah, and now I can capture on f7, I believe. However, pawn f7, king f8 is also there, at which point of time I can play queen c5, and queen d6 is not possible. Rook d6 is there, queen c5, rook d6, rook takes. But if I play e7, you can play something like also rook g6 check. If king f8, I have got queen h8. If king e7, then queen f6 check could be played. So yeah, I think taking on f6, my bad, taking on g6 is better here. Yeah, nice. Let's see what's the move if after king f8, queen h8, I believe. If e7, then queen f6, and then what? Then I just capture here. In fact, e7 is also better here, I believe. We're winning the rook there. Anyhow, let's move on to the next puzzle. And yeah, so it's white to move. Now f4 looks good because it does win the bishop, the knight on e5. But then you can capture on h4. That should be fine because then my opponent's king would be in my territory, yeah, and I will have ample of opportunities to checkmate. Let's say f4. If king captures on h4 foolishly, captures on e5. Let's say if knight captures in bishop, e5 is straightly winning the rook. And then I also have some ideas of playing f. Okay, I don't have f3 then, but also my queen is hit here. Oh yeah, I didn't see that. So queen f5, king h4, g3 check, king h3, and then bishop e5. If knight e5, then yeah, okay, knight e5 is also possible, but then I have queen h3, so maybe okay, queen f5 has to be the move. Queen f5, king h4, g3 check, king h3 there, bishop e5, queen e5 is better here. But then I have rook, or I don't have rook d3 because of g3 is there. Oh wait, yeah, that's not possible. Queen f5, king h4, g3, king h3, and then maybe something like queen e4, threatening queen h1 or queen g2. That should be better. So yeah, let's go for this. Okay. Then this check. Is f4 the right move? Okay. And then maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, oh yeah, knight check, and then we win the nice queen there. So I technically want to reach 2400 before I start to play a game today, and the idea is to reach to at least 2100 in rapid. Anyhow, so we're playing with black pieces here. b2 allows king c2. I can play a3 with the idea of playing b4, knight b4 check, and if king b1, b2 check. If king captures, yeah, that is also I can capture on ace on h6, but I believe That's pretty obvious. Maybe king, knight c3, check. If king d2, b2, and then there's no way to prevent promotion. Knight c3, and even if, but then he has got knight, king c1 there, right? And then I can capture on h6 maybe. However, knight c3, king c1, b3, sorry, a3, with the idea of playing b2 check and then promoting. That's my idea. Knight c3, king c1 is there. And then a3, maybe. And let's see if, but then if, yeah, okay, that looks interesting. I mean, the point is, I am really concerned about the knight on d6 here. I just want to see if after knight c3, king c1, a3, the point is, how can this knight on d6 intervene? Maybe something like knight c4 looks good, push, check, sorry, b2, knight b2, pawn b2 check, but then king b2 and my knight is also hit. And what's the problem with b2, c2 is there? The other good move is king c6, king h6, but I'm not really sure if that is the move. Let's go for knight c3 here. Yeah. Now I can win, I mean, I can go for knight e2 check, but then he has got king b2 there. Now a3 is the follow-up I see here. a3 threatening b2, but a3 and knight c4 is there. And now I think I can also capture, I mean, a3, and then this king cannot really come to any of these three squares. Yeah. So as in this knight, king will not. Yeah, and if he comes to d2, that's bad because I play b2, and then there's no way to really defend the promotion of the pawn. So a3, knight c4 should be the move here. But I can also capture on h6, but then he has got king b2 there. And then I've got knight d1 also. But knight, yeah, that looks also good, right? So if I capture on h6, king b2, knight d1 check. And king c1 is there. But I have got b2 there. But then he's got knight. Yeah, okay, b2, knight, king b1, a3. Rather than threatening knight c3 there. So there are a lot of good moves. But let's say a3, I'm just concerned about how can white respond. a3, even if he let's say saves the bishop, I've got b2, and then I'm promoting. So I'll go for a3 here. Yeah. So we are close to 2400. Interesting. So my bishop is kind of pinned here. It's been threatened right now. So one good move is rook c8. And if let's say king g7, rook e7 check. King g6, rook g8, and king h6 could be played there because if king h5, then I have rook f7, rook h7, and that's mate. Yeah, let's see. Rook c8, king g7, rook e7. If king h6, sorry, king g6 after this, g8, and then if h5, then I can capture on h7. However, after rook c8, he can go to g7. I mean, that's the only move. And rook e7, And the only move here is, so now he can play h6, king h6 or king g6. The other move that I see is pawn h7 check. Because he really can't play king h8 because of rook c8. Eventually he'll be required to capture on h7, yeah. So let's say pawn h7, king takes, rook e7, check. If he goes to, but then he has got king f8 there, right? That's, yeah, okay, that's devastating for black, so for white then, because he's threatening capture on g2 with check, and then maybe bring more forces. His knight is also there, could be a hook's mate somewhere down the line. So I have to make sure that I always put my opponent's king in check. So rook c8 is the move, I believe. King g7, rook takes, king h6 is there, and then I don't have any checks available technically. So h7, king h7, rook, rook c8, king g7, knight, rook. So the problem is, if I play pawn h7 check, he doesn't have to capture on h7. King g7, rook e7, and then king f8. And then I promote to a pawn, right? Yeah, okay. Pawn h7, if king g7, rook e7, if king f8, that's right, because I promote with check. And then my other rook is also joining the attack, so that's not possible. Pawn h7, king h7, rook check. Yeah, that's better. Pawn h7, king h7, knight, rook e7, check. So the king is on h7. And he can't really go to h8 or g8 because of rook c8. So rook h6, rook c6, check. h5, I can bring my other rook to h7, check. And that looks good, because even if knight h6, I can take there because my rook is on c6. So this looks better. Let's take on h7 and now take on e7 if I'm right. And then rook c6 should be good here. Nice. Okay, I can also play this, but then it's the same idea. If you come here, that's mate. Oh, it's almost mate. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I believe we have already crossed 2400 in tactics. Now let's go for some live rapid games. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So we are streaming on Leeches. That's great. What was that? Yeah, awesome. Let's create a new rapid game. Okay, so we are playing with black pieces. Let's go for d6 now. Nice. And now knight f6, attack the pawn. Nice. g6. So he wants to play f4, I believe. Now I am even if f4 is played, okay, now I think I can't play e5 right now. Maybe c5 and then something like, yeah, now let's play e5 and take with the e pawn because I was afraid of f4. And now if bishop d3 or bishop g5, I'll play h6. I want to challenge the knight. Yeah, now bishop g5 should be played. Looks sensible. But then I can play c6 there. But then he has got queen b6. Now let's first castle. And now if bishop d5, now I can play something like c3 and an eventual h6. Nice. So he's not really concerned about this bishop g5 move. So I would technically love to play this knight on f4 or this knight on f4, which is the basic idea. If queen e7, he has got knight d5, right? Anyhow, let's go for this because I have to connect my pieces, develop my pieces, and I have to transfer this d7 knight to the king side. If bishop g5, I'll play c3 there, c3, and then maybe rook d8. Because bishop g5 looks tempting, yeah. And earlier c6 was not possible because of queen d6, which then might, yeah, okay, now we're having this exchange taking place. If bishop takes c6, and or also I can go for, yeah, rook d8. And now knight f8, knight e6, and f4. I have something like this. I can still play knight e6 and eventually knight f4 because that would give, and if bishop f4, pawn f4, yeah, nice. Now this entire diagonal is weak. And if bishop e6, and I have the bishop pair advantage. So he's not really concerned about. Okay, so he's happy to capture on f4, I believe. And there are some dark square weaknesses on the queen side as well. Knight f4, bishop f4, pawn f4, and then what? Yeah, the knight has hit, right? Yeah, so maybe right now my knight really cannot be taken because otherwise a g3 knight will be running out of squares. He'll be required to go to h1. Yeah. And now maybe knight d3 would also be played at some point of time. And now knight h1 has to be played. And I have to do something about the bishop here. I don't want to play bishop e6 in the exchange of these pieces because then I would lose the bishop pair advantage. One idea could be to play a5 and then play b6 and bishop a6 could be an idea. Let's play b6 because if one of the rooks comes to the d1 square, I would just play bishop b7 there and make sure that I don't lose the control of the file. Now eventually I want to play bishop a6. Yeah. At this point of time I can't. Now I can play a5. And now I'm threatening bishop a6 because if the rook bishop a6 if allowed, that's fine because if rook d8, queen d8, I'm still hitting the queen on d2, on e2, and if rook d1, that's bad because he's losing a piece then. Also at some point of time, I can pin the knight. And now I have got at some point of time bishop d3 as well. Queen c5 is my next move, I believe, which will kind of pin the knight. However, he can just play king h1, and now he can play, yeah, okay, awesome. Let's play h5 to prevent knight g4. And if this rook ever moves, the idea is to play queen c5 and bishop e3. Bishop d3, my bad. He might play bishop, yeah, queen b3 is there. Now he's adding some pressure on the f7 pawn, so he's forcing me to take on. Let's see if we can do something about this. Yeah, let's go for this, because my queen was overworked. I think the knight will capture there. Well, that's fine. I have to protect d7 somehow. So let's say queen c5, queen check, bishop, king h7, and then he can capture an f7, and then I don't have anything there. Yeah. Maybe play bishop e5 here with the idea of playing queen e5. Sorry, queen d6 here. My bad. So if knight comes to e6, then I can play queen d6 maybe. And then forcing him to play bishop b1. Nice. Other idea could have been to play b5, a4, get the queen off, and then, but then I'm just blocking off the board, right? So that's a blunder. Nice. Let's go to analysis board. So let's see if we made any blunder. c6 here, but what about c6 queen d6? I'm not really sure about that. So right now the position is equal. Okay, let me just update the OBS here. Yeah, So right now the position is equal. In fact, let me just add another element onto onto the screen here. Not sure if my if my system is hung, I believe. Yeah. In fact, what I can do is, my bad, I can change the orientation of this, or not the orientation, I can cover more area this way. Yeah. Okay. So I'm on G3 here. Yeah, so the position is almost equal. C6. Okay, black is having an edge here, a small edge. So more or less it's equal. If C6, I'm only afraid of Queen D6 here. Okay. It could be one of the ways to play, but I don't want to bring my F knight. At least I don't prefer that variation. So yeah. Okay, Queen C5, but then he has got Knight F2, improving his knight's position, maybe. Let's see, Queen, yeah, Bishop E5. Hmm. Anyhow, um, let's go for one more, maybe a 10-0. Okay, we are playing with black pieces once again. Let's go for D6, Knight F6, G6 now. Okay, and now the pawn is it. Although you can play F4. Yeah, that's fine. It's one way to go about it. Let's play Bishop F5 here. I'm hitting the pawn on C2 there. Yeah. Knight C6. Maybe I can castle on the queen side now. Okay, I have to save my knight first. Should I sacrifice on E5? Knight E5, pawn E5, knight E5. I don't really see if I can do anything because the queens are off the board. If G4 looks scary, I have got, yeah, okay. Now I can do Bishop E4, kind of attacking G2. Let's castle now. Maybe this didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Hmm. Now if Bishop G2, okay. I'm not sure if Bishop F3 is good here. Hmm. Okay, let's see. Is a bishop trapped? Bishop d5, c4. Bishop comes back to e6. Push, takes, and bishop is trapped. So I can play rook f2 maybe. Yeah. However, let's say, sorry, rook d1, the bishop moves to c4, let's say. And then if I capture on a1, rook a1, and then I've got what? Bishop g2? It's not possible. Hmm. The idea could be knight e5, pawn e5, but that doesn't work. It's not trapped entirely, so let's see if we can do something about it. And I've lost a lot of time, to be honest, in making sure if I'm not losing my bishop. Yeah, okay, maybe now I can just create some room for my bishop and make sure we are challenging white's center here. And this is bad because the rook is it. Let's capture there. Capture the rook there. And if pawn captures, then I've got bishop check first, and now you can grab the other rook. Yeah, this looks good. I hope it doesn't come in the D file. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome. Okay, I didn't turn on the engine here. Let's just turn on the engine. I think this is better for black already. Okay, knight d5 is what the computer is suggesting. Let's see, knight d5 and c4. Ooh, okay, got it. So we are actually trying to take care of c2. I mean, trying to invoke some pressure on c2. Now bishop comes here, we're developing and attacking. If h3, and you just play knight c2, takes, maybe this is better. f4, and eventual this, but what about this push? Nice. Okay, anyhow, let's move on. No, knight h4. Yeah, this is just a blunder here. Okay, yeah, because if wherever king goes, we take the rook, and if he captures on b2, we just capture the pawn back. Yeah, so we are basically having an extra rook, and we are up the exchange in terms of your better material here. Anyhow, I think let's solve a few puzzles. So what's puzzle storm here? Let's see. Puzzle storm. Okay, this is something I really don't like. What's puzzle races? Join a public race. What public race? Well, let's see what's public. Compete with other players to solve puzzles. Okay, I don't like that. I would like to compete with myself. Puzzle streak is what I really like. Okay, so yeah. Oh, this is simple. I can capture back with the queen, and this is a skewer. Isn't this winning? Now queen check wins the bishop. Okay. Queen f1 check. King h2. Knight check. Yeah, let's start with this. Bishop h6 check should be the move. And then we win. Now we win the bishop. Okay, and then this rook check should be winning. Knight f3 is winning the queen with the discovered attack on the queen. We can save the bishop, the rook with bishop f6, which forces queen h6. Oh, in fact, that's also not possible. Queen h6 is not a good idea. Let's capture the queen. And now queen h7, king. Okay, yeah, this is good. Then the rook check should suffice it. Nice. Okay, I can capture the queen with check and win a piece there. Yeah, this is one of those anesthesia made, I believe. Form of anesthesia made. e7 captures and I push. I promote with check. Should be winning, yeah. Rook check and queen h7. Rook f5, king h4, then h3 maybe. Also rook h6. It's not possible, yeah. So rook f5 and h3 should be the move. Maybe not. h3. Oh wait, I can play, yeah, g3 check and then I can play rook h5 and that's mate. Awesome. Bishop c6. Oh wait, I can play b5 here. Break the connection between the queen and the bishop. Queen d7. Check. King goes to b7 and then bishop check. Yeah, this looks better. So a lot of pieces are under attack. I see. So queen knight e7 check, rook e7, and then I capture on e4, rook e4, and then I can play king d3, king f3, and I'm better here. Queen check and then pawn push, maybe should be it. Rook check, king g1, and then bishop check. Oh wow, I can't really capture there, can I? Bishop f7, king f7 wins the queen, yeah? There could be some fox with the knight on e6. I only have to figure out how. Rook f5, pawn f5, and then what? Oh yeah, simple. Rook f5, pawn f5, then knight f8. Simple. I win a free rook. Let's aim to reach 50 here. Now, queen e1 looks great. The only move is king d3, queen d1, and then we win the queen. Nice. Queen h5 should be the move, because if king goes to e7, then queen f7 is mate. And there is no knight f6, so we can capture the rook. I can capture on a5 there, but then, oh yeah, I can capture on a5. If queens are exchanged, I take with the knight, and I'm up a piece if I'm not wrong, and there's no pressure on f7. That's my queen and my king up protecting that. That was simple. Now here c4 could be an idea. c4. If queen c4, then rook c5 is winning the queen. Yeah. c4 hits the queen. And then we also attack c3 there. Sorry, b3 there. So I can play something like pawn push, pawn e4, check, king d4, c5, check. And that should be it, right? Okay. So we have a few pieces around my opponent's king. Can we checkmate him? That's a question. We have knight h6. Let's see. Rook d1, check. And then he has got king e2. King e2 is bad because of knight d4, check. Yeah. So rook d1, check. If king comes to g2, I have then got knight h4, check, and that's mate. Yeah, that's winning. Yeah. So one idea that comes to my mind is rook d8, check, rook d8, and queen c7 hits the bishop and the rook. If bishop c3, bishop f3, I can capture on d8 first, check, king h7, and then maybe capture on f3. Yeah, let's do that. Now we can capture on the b7 square. Okay. So I have queen f1, check, king h4, g5. Yeah, let's see. Maybe rook check also. Let's start with queen f1 here. Rook check. And then bishop h6. I see. So my queen is hit. And my bishop is also hit. Oh wait, I have this battery along the diagonal, right? Queen h2, king f1, queen h1, check, king e2, let's start with queen h2 here, and then queen h1, king e2, then what? Queen h1, king e2, and maybe knight g3, pawn g3, queen g2, check. Because if king e1, then bishop g3, it's devastating. So queen h1, king e2, knight g3, pawn g3, check. Pawn g3, queen g2, check. So then he can play king d3, but then I've got rook d8. Yeah, that should be it. Also, knight g3 is available right now. Also, pawn takes, queen check, e2. I think that queen h1, knight check. Ooh, that's not the right move. What was the right move then? Queen g2. What's the problem with knight g3? Oh yeah, anyhow this queen protects a rook. I didn't see that coming. What's my highest score in this puzzle streak? Let's see. Highest score is 41. Okay, I think I'll solve a few endgame puzzles and then maybe call it a day, because I'm not well today, but I still thought of streaming because I just wanted to maintain the consistency. Let's go for pawn endgames, my favorite. The idea is to reach 24-25 here. C4 looks good. C4 because I have to create some sort of concession against my opponent's pawn. I have to hit the center basically. C4, DC4, BC4, and if he plays B5, the idea could be to capture on A5, pawn A5, or also I've got, yeah, so I have to somehow get to the center. C4 does the trick here, I believe. Okay, that's not the right move. What's a move then? What is the move? Nice. Missed that one. Okay. So maybe he wants to come to B5. Yeah. My idea could be king d4. If king b5, let him capture the queen side pawns. But then I don't have really any king side majority. I have one, or maybe let's say 2 versus 1. That's a dead state, I would say. I have to play on the queen side, yeah. Another idea could be king d4, let's say. King b5, king e5, king b4. That's a long way to go about this, but king f6, but then he can come back to c6, right? Protect the d7 pawn. So now king f4 looks good, but I want to play king d4. If king b5, I can play something like king c3. If king c5, then I've got king c3. Yeah. Okay. King d4 is what I would bet my money on, which is the move to be played here. Now king c6, sorry, king c4, threatening b5. Let's say I get to play two moves in a row. So king c4 and then I play b5 check. The king has only one square, which is b7. I push, check, pawn takes. And if I play d7, he can always play king c7 and protect everything. And then if I play, yeah, but then I can capture on c6, right? And the c6 pawn is immune. So yeah, that looks good. So king c4 and b5. Ooh, okay. And now what? What about this? Okay, nice, because he really can't, because then we're promoting. Nice. Now I am thinking about h5, forcing my opponent's king to go to the h pawn. Let's say king g5, and then I can play something like king e5, captures. If king g4, then I can just I can go for king d5, and then this pawn is going to fall, right? There's no way to save this pawn. Okay, man, this is weird. I just don't see why h5 does not work here. Let's see, h5. If you capture, okay, you get the opposition this way, but I'm getting the pawn on b4. Isn't this better? Because maybe I can exchange of the queens somehow. Okay, I'm not sure why that was not the right solution. Anyhow, I can play something like king g6, get the opposition. Also, there's something going on the king side. I have to be a little careful about the e4 pawn. That could become a pawn in black's camp. But king g6 looks good, because I don't want to capture on c3, because then these two pawns will be creating havoc on the black side. Now, one idea could be to play pawn b5. Let's say I get another move. I can capture on c3, pawn captures, and then push for b4. Yeah. Eventually, if this pawn captures, I capture back. This pawn captures back. I can get the a pawn rolling down the board. So b5. If he captures, I can go for b4. But then he can capture on c5. Yeah. b5, if he captures, or also I can do pawn c3, b5. No, the threat is b4. Yeah, that looks good. Now b4, b5. Nice. Okay. Now, again, the idea is to play a5 here. If a5, I can capture on c5, and although my opponent's king is in the square of the pawn, but I'm not exactly sure how he can defend the pawn, because his own pawns are acting as a barrier. King f6 maybe. I play c6 and then he's clearly out of the square of the pawn. So yeah, a5. If he pushes for b5, he can capture, and then my a pawn is rolling down the board. So yeah, see, but after a5, pawn a5, pawn c5, a4 is equally good. c6, a3, c7, b2, c8, and he promotes as well. But queen c5 check. Wait, I am getting a call, guys. I'll be back in a moment. And I'm back. Yeah. So queen c5 check. If king goes to f6, I've got something like queen e5 check, king e7, queen c7 check. Oh, okay. I think a5 has to be played here. And now capturing. Oh yeah, I can go for this as well. Nice. No, but then what's okay? I'm not sure exactly. Okay, I have clear pawn majority on the queen side. I'm thinking about a4. Let's say king e3 and then b4. Is it b4 directly? Nice. No, but then what's the problem with a4 and b4? I just want to see. If I play a4. Oh yeah, and then if I play b4. Nice. Okay. Let's aim for 2400 in endgame. Because I already reached there. It's just that I want to do it with endgame puzzles. So okay, so my pawn on e4 is hit and I can't really defend that. So king c4 attacks the pawn. Let's say if he plays a5, king b5, and then king e4, king a5, king d5, king b4, and then e3 is there. I think king c4 should be it. Come on. What's the move then? But eventually I have to say goodbye to my e4 pawn, right? Now, king g5 looks tempting. If ef4, e and gf4, I'm clearly better because king f7 is then forced, and then I can just advance my pawns, right? Is it? No, but then what's the issue with if I just capture here? You know what? Let's just solve puzzles without focusing on any theme. I want to get back my rating of 2400 before I log off today. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this looks good. Knight b1, rook b1, bishop a5, knight a5, and then I capture. So I'm giving away my two pieces for a rook. However, yeah, knight b1 forces rook b1 there. Ooh, what is the move then? Okay, but what about knight b1 and then bishop a5? Okay, I mean, I had different ideas, I believe. It's an endgame puzzle. Wow. It's okay. Only if I could get to f4. So now I'm thinking about b4 captures, and then my opponent is in some sort of a zugzwang. b4. I can also play a4, lock the entire queen side, but I don't want to do that because I would like to have a healthy pair of pawns. So b4 or a so b4 looks good here because even if he pushes for a4, I can play b4 there, still putting my opponent in a zugzwang. And because of the position of my c pawn and my e pawn, the king really cannot advance. But a4 is also good, right? a4 just directly puts my opponent in a zugzwang kind of a situation. My bad. In a zugzwang kind of a situation, right? a4. What is black going to do? Maybe he can go for something like d5, pawn d5, king f4, and then I have something to play with. b4, d4, captures, pawn f4, sorry, king f4. Yeah, I think let's go for b4 here. Is it a4 then? Wow. What's the difference between b4 here? a4, yeah, and now what? Yeah. Okay, nice. So another endgame puzzle. These pawns are really dangerous, I believe. And now the idea is to play king c5 maybe. And to be honest, I really don't have any clue how I should go about this. Rook c2, king c5, b, but rook c2 he can just capture on a5, yeah. Now I'm thinking about a5, king c5, rook b2, c3. I can play rook b1 there, but then b2 is also coming into picture. It won't allow me to play b6 there. What about king f3? I'm not sure how to proceed with this, man. It's pretty tough, I see. So So b6, rook is 6, and then b7, but then king c7 is there. However, I can play. Let's see. b6, rook a6. If I play b7 here, or king c7. So b6, rook a6, rook b2, c3. b7 captures on b2. I promote with check and I take care of the pawn on b2. So yeah, let's go for b6 and then rook b2. Nice. So we're in the 50s now. Rook g7. Oh wow, he has got 2 queens. So I have to do something. Let's see. Queen e8, check. King h7, knight f6, check. King g6 maybe. But then I've got rook d7 and I'm winning the queen, right? Also, rook f8 looks interesting. If bishop f8, queen f6, check. If rook, if bishop g7, do I have a perpetual? No, I don't. So let's go for queen check. And knight g5 maybe is also interesting. Knight g5, check. If pawn takes, then I don't have anything, right? So maybe knight f6. And then I can just capture on e1, queen e1. Oh no, I'm not sure. Rook d7, sorry, rook e7 here. Also, I've rook g7 maybe. If king g7, I'm not sure. Rook h5. Let's go for rook d7 here. Take the queen now. Oh wow, queen f7. My bad. So I'm attacking the rook on g1, g8. I've got bishop f6 there. Bishop f6 looks good, right? There are no checks available with the king. Right now, my opponent is threatening me queen h4. So bishop f6 is kind of mandatory also. Oh wait, I also have queen a3 there. Queen a3 check. That forces. But then he has got queen d7 there. Yeah. Queen h3, queen d7. So yeah, let's go for bishop f6 maybe. Sweet and simple. Doesn't win. Is it queen a3? What's the solution then? Nice. And what about if queen takes? Then we have got queen takes. Nice. It was pretty simple, I guess. In the hand side, it at least looks pretty simple. Wait. He took on d3 there. I can take on d3. The queen is it. Queen moves away. I can capture on b2. Then maybe queen captures on b2. Queen. Yeah, there is no queen check available. I am like king f8 also. Also, I can go for king h8. King h8, knight c8, queen c7 is there. But king h8 also, king f8, not sure. What's the difference between the two? I think I'll go for king f8 here. Is it king h8? But what's the difference? Let's see. What's the issue with king f8 here? Oh yeah, there could be some discoveries. Nice. Man, what has happened to me? I need to get back in game. Okay, you know what? Let's go for this last puzzle and then we'll call it a day. Yeah? So rook c2 looks good. But there is a queen f6 as well. Also I've got bishop h3, pawn g3, pawn h3, queen h3, then I'm threatening to bring my rook there. Yeah, let's go for this. Then queen